Welcome to Office Hours, a podcast about what leadership actually looks like in real life, not in theory, not in titles, and not in perfect conditions. I am Carolina.
And I'm Lisa. And today we're going to talk about a case study about taking over a team that has had a stressful leader. They don't trust each other. They don't trust the leader. They don't trust the culture. Just a culture of lacking psychological safety. And what do you do as a leader when you come in and you see that and you want the team to perform better? So Carolina, this is your case study, and this is something that you personally have experienced. So why don't you tell us what happened, and we'll talk about what you did.
Definitely, Lisa. I had that case happen to me. And basically, there was a very toxic culture that had a very toxic leader. And that leader was moved into another position inside the same company. And that team was moved into my team. So basically, I became their leader. But there was a recipe for disaster really from the beginning. Not only the team was not in the same place, it's a big deal. So I had some teammates in one area, some others in another area, and some of them were in the place where that toxic leader was. So I couldn't tell how much power was still, in play in that situation. So they were moved into my team, but soon I discovered that there was no psychological safety at all. So at the very beginning, I could tell that they were still kind of apprehensive on talking to me. They were also still under someone else's power, not mine. So even though you become their leader, you don't truly do until you really make them a cohesive team. And if that leader from before still in the company generally still exerts some kind of power on them.
Influence, yeah.
Some
So tell us,
influence is a better
give us a
word.
couple of examples, right, of some of the first conversations that you had and how to go and what you were thinking, what surprised you about this team, and how did you start to understand the way they were thinking?
Definitely. So the first meetings were interesting because the meetings were quiet. Nobody wanted to collaborate. I think that my first meetings were all about being very patient and
Yeah.
understanding what was going on. I just couldn't tell. It was the first
Right.
time that this was happening to me. So yeah, so I could tell that they were coming from somewhere else. In some
Not
cases,
speaking up, I'll just stop you for a second because that is one of the hallmarks of a stress response or, or bad leadership, right? When people come to me and they say, "How do I get my team to speak up?" The first thing you have to look at is it safe to speak up? They're not going to be taken aback. So that's the first hallmark that you look for, that there's been some kind of problem. So it takes a lot of patience. So tell us
it
about the
does.
patience. I'm really curious about that because I have had clients who've had this situation and what that patience really means. How long and how much listening? Tell us about that
Yeah.
process.
Well, I think that I was patient maybe for the first three meetings. I thought that that was enough for me to understand, because many times my patience was based on what their answers would be based on the questions that I would, give them, or if they were getting into the idea that I was a different leader. So I was being patient about that. I wanted to check if at some point they were going to let go, the idea that they were not in that team anymore. So I was hoping that maybe in the third meeting they could see that the meetings were safe for them to speak. So that was one of the things that I was hoping for. The second thing that I was trying to check is their responses with their behavior. At the very beginning, for example, nobody wanted to turn on cameras. Thing for me, because I was used in every team that I have, everybody's happy to turn on their camera. It's not a
Sure.
big deal. So
Right.
I could see that they didn't want to be there somehow, or that they didn't want to turn the camera. And then when I got them to do that, then I realized that also their behavior and the way that you could see them, you could tell a ton from that. So that was my second meeting that I was able to, okay, everybody's on. I can see their behavior. I can tell more or less the apprehension, not only in the verbal, but also the nonverbal. I could tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by the third one, I said, well, new rules, because I could tell what was going on. So then by then, I was like, okay, I gather info. The first one was, I don't know what's going on. The second one is, I keep on gathering enough info to tell me what's the deal. And then by the third meeting, I I kind of created new rules and I said, look, I can see this. Tell me if this is what you feel, because I could tell it was unsettled. In some moments, I could tell that some people were trying to turn on the page, but some others were not wanting them to do so. So at some point, I also had to realize who had the power over them in the team. There's always someone that has more influence than others. So I
Yep.
was just trying to figure that out. And then if you've got that person that has influence over the team and you get them on your side, then it's easier. But
Yeah,
you
start
have to
with
be,
the leaders within. I mean, even not the leaders in titles, is what we always say,
no,
right? Leadership
no.
is not a title, but people look to each other for their
Yeah,
clues of how to do things. And when they trust somebody or they feel like someone is kind of showing them what works, they're going to follow them. So you figured
exactly.
out who was among these were kind of the role models.
Exactly. So then once you, let's say step one could have been like just being patient and gather information and just not assume. The second thing is, I think that one of the things that I learned quite at the beginning is that it doesn't make sense to come in and force upon them your
Yeah,
way of working. That
right.
won't work. Even if you're doing it fantastic and you love them and everything is about love and happiness, it doesn't matter. You can't force it.
Trust takes time. I mean, that people forget building trust and building respect, it just takes time, especially when people have been burned.
Exactly.
They're not so willing to trust again.
Well, and you see subtle changes at the very beginning. You start seeing that, or you can start asking questions, I guess is more what I mean. Because at the very beginning, I could also see that not only in meetings, I couldn't feel that safety, but also on top of that, I had emails and emails coming to me. And I just kept on getting these inbox like packed, and I was not used to that. So I started reading emails that were like more like cover ups than anything. It was like, I did this, just want to let you know. And I'm like, I don't need to know. And then the next one. So also the second thing that I did was that was not meeting related, it was email related. So in emails, I will get back to them. Yes, tons of emails to reply to, but I will get back to them and say, oh, that's okay. I trust you. Oh, I understand. You know what you're doing. So at least like reinforcing that what they were doing was okay. So then at some point they will stop sending me emails. Because if you go back to those emails and you say you don't have to send me this, on one side it feels that she doesn't care, and on another side it feels, oh, so I don't have to cover myself, but I don't think
Right.
it's sending the message. So I felt that I could use that opportunity to just kind of build up some trust and confidence
Yeah.
in them, so they could understand that they didn't need to send me every single thing and that I didn't need to be covered.
I did this is a sign of micromanaging, right? Someone's gone in there and said, you have to do A, B, C, and D. So when they do A, B, C, and D, and then they report back, I did everything you said. So
Mhm,
if you
mhm.
come back to me and things don't work out, I can say, well, I did everything you told me to do. And I
Yeah,
documented it and it's there. So it's just a safety mechanism, right? Someone has told them what to do. If they do it, they can't really get in trouble if things go wrong, right?
exactly.
And so someone's been trying to control them, and so they're testing you, and you're responding saying, "It's okay, I don't need to know everything, right? I'm not micromanaging you. I trust you to do your job."
Exactly.
And that's a great message.
Exactly. And then you eventually you get a good opportunity to show, because you need to show. It's all about actions. It's not
Yes,
about believe me, you are safe here. At some point, you need to be tested. And you
100%.
got to know that that's coming. So at some point, I got tested somehow.
Okay, what was your test?
Well,
I'm so
it,
curious. I really want to
it was
know. Give us the details now.
no, the test was very interesting because they one of them made a mistake,
There
just
you
plain and
go.
simple.
That's exactly the best test. Okay.
And it was whatever she thought was going to work didn't. And that was my moment to say, well, look, I support you. This happens. What do you think was going to work? Well, I thought this and this was working, and I thought that this was the best decision for this. So let's fix it. Right there, I could see the face like, so no blame. So it was very interesting to see their reaction to it, because I
Right.
I thought about it and I said, well, okay, so sometimes things don't happen the way that we thought were going to happen. So how do you think we can fix it? Have you
We
thought
learn
about
from it and try
ideas?
to move on smarter. Yeah.
And I didn't put it on me either. I'm like, let's fix it. Let me be the fixer. I thought like that cannot become me, the leader fixer. It has to
No.
be, we're a team. What are you thinking we could do? And then after that, I asked a couple of others in the team and I said, well, from your perspective, what else do you think we could also add to this? Because maybe we can fix it together. So then that gave a lesson. It was really good because I was very lucky I was able to get that. The mistake was not great. And then of course I had a deal of lobbying in the company because it was not an easy mistake. But
Right.
because that's another thing that you have to do, right? Like you have to cover the team as well and shape
Yeah,
them a
the
little bit
leader
from.
protects the team. Yeah.
So I myself got not in trouble, but you get a little bit into a situation that you got to tell the team, it's okay, you can fix it. And on another note, you have to talk to your boss and say, yeah, we made it. So I think that that was the test that they wanted to see somehow, because they could see that I was willing to go to my boss and say, yes, we could have done it better. We could have done it better, and not pinpoint anybody as to blame. So
Right.
those news go fast. So that
Oh,
was
yeah.
one that I let it kind of like slide somewhere, and I was able to kind of leave some crumbs here and there. So then they will literally see that I was defending them on that level. And then on another note, I just let them know in the meeting that they were being trusted and that we, as a team, we were going to figure it out how to fix it.
Let me ask you a question. How long did it take before, you got tested and then you got through that and they started to relax and be more team oriented? How long did that take?
I think around 6 to 8 months they start,
Okay.
because the first test, it's like but it's for her, and then they check, okay, so this happens too. So until they're able to relax, I think that timeline is also aligned with different variables as well. So I'm thinking
Sure.
that if the previous boss, let's say, is still in the company, the previous leader, and is still friends somehow with others, which is fine. The
Right.
friendship doesn't really make any difference. Then it takes longer, I feel, because there's still that pressure that they're like,
Yeah.
she's doing that. There's something behind it. Now,
And there's
super,
fear, right? They
yeah,
have fear that they're going to find out and that they're going even though you, their new leader, isn't blaming them, that old leader, if they find out about the mistake, they're still afraid they're going to get yelled at, right?
they
That they're
literally,
going to yell at you.
they're
Yeah.
still thinking that's a sense
Someone's
of
going to get mad.
fear that is difficult to get, yeah, exactly, over.
Yeah.
It's very,
Yeah.
and if you see that person, let's say it was not in my region, so it was in another region, and some of my team was there in that office with her,
Right.
so you could see that they still were afraid of her, even though
Yeah.
nothing. So at one point I actually
But
did
she's
have
still in the office. She's still walking around. She can still come into your office and start yelling.
100%. So at some point, I also had to say, in one occasion, I do remember that I actually had a separate conversation with someone that I could see that was the last one that didn't want to do the flip. And I could see everybody was already there. But unless everyone is on the same side, you're still behind. Like you have to have everyone's buyout. Otherwise,
Yes.
it's not going to happen. And that one person kept on not getting there. And I was like, it's been 3 months or 4. So I had a conversation. And at some point I said, why are you so afraid? Like, I can see your apprehension, like I don't know. Is there anything, that I can do? And at some point she kind of let some signs that she was worried she was going to lose her job. And I said, but why are you so concerned? If I am the one that could take that job away, me, the same person that is asking you, how can I help you? So turn the page a little bit and start seeing your new team as for what it is. Don't stay in that area that you were behind it, because that person that still somewhat has some influence over you, I can see, does not have it anymore, if that's actually your concern. If you're concerned that you're going to be let go, at some point it's like, well, that's not funded. It's unfunded concern, because I am the one that can let you go, not
Right.
that person anymore.
So
So
they were still holding on to their old fears. They were still just acting like a scared animal, kind of backed into a cage and making sure that they didn't get hurt.
100%. Let's say if that leader left the company or was let go or whatever
Yeah.
reason is not there anymore, then you can play the card, I would say, more about new administration. It's almost like, let's flip the card. This person is not here anymore. Done. But I think that's an easy shift in a team. That's not as complicated. It is harder what I presented here in this case study. That is the hardest part,
Yeah.
where you actually have someone that's still there, trying to get some influence there going. Also, because it's not a good idea for them to let you do well because they were not able to manage
Of
that team
course.
properly.
Of
This is
course. They're
why they're
going to
not there
try to
anymore.
undermine you.
So thinking is what helps you through it. You're not always going to have the same solutions for it, but if you're able to show them with actions that you're there to back them up and that you're not going to blame them, even if your boss goes to you and tells you who did it, and you're like, we did it. It was a team situation.
Right.
Things happen. The mistakes are happen, and the most important part is that let me help you, and this is how we decided to solve it, and we fixed it, and let's move on.
I'm just going to list the skills that you're using. First of all, listening and patience, helping give them guidance, giving them all the clues about how safe it is. And then when they test you, things come down to the wire and there's a mistake, right? Then they're going to see, all right, let's see what this is really, if this is really safe. And you protected them. You refused to blame. You didn't engage in blame culture. You gave them a second chance. You gave them a chance, everybody a chance to contribute to how do we fix it. So we just want a chance to fix it. Everybody makes mistakes, right? So it's okay. We make a few mistakes. We get to fix it. You protected them. And even still, even after that, it sounds like there was one holdout who was really just still afraid of the other team member who was still in their office. They could see them every day. What do you think made the biggest difference for that last one? To really kind of come and be part of the team and open up as part of the team? What do you think was the key to opening that last bit?
I think that the key didn't come from me. I think it came from them. I think that after like this happening twice,
Yeah.
twice, 3 times, that they could see that it was not a one-off, that I was
Yeah, it's
literally
real.
saying, you can trust me, and that there's psychological safety here, and that we can keep on talking to each other and nothing's going to happen, even if you make a mistake, or even if you do something that you thought it was going to work and didn't.
Yeah.
I think that the first one, it's a one-off, and then the second comes, and then the third one, and I think by the
Now
third
you're
one,
starting to establish a
it gives
culture.
them
You're
a
starting to
session.
establish a pattern that you're
Yeah, and I
always going to
think,
be there to protect
yeah,
them, and you're
but it
not
has to
going to
come
blame
from them.
them.
That's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
important thing, that you have to
yeah,
understand that it's not on you. You just lay all the pieces and the ground for them to take it. But if you push it, it
yeah,
won't.
yeah. You have to have the patience to let them come to it.
Yeah.
And I think another thing that you did was helping them understand, well, how are you want to fix it now?
Yeah.
Giving them the chance to think it through, like, okay, well, I thought this was going to work, but then when it didn't, maybe I think this might also work. This might be a better way to do it, right? That second chance, and letting them think it through rather than coming in and saying, all right, I'll fix it. Then that's also, now you have a lot of power over them, because every time they make a mistake, you're going to take over, right? Then that's disempowering them.
Well, and
So you
a
do
lot
a
of
whole
work.
bunch of things right, and that patience.
Yes, and and then if you become the fixer, though, because that had happened to me before,
Yes.
to be honest, I
Yeah,
was like,
it
no,
does.
I'll
It
fix
happens
it.
to
No, fix it.
everybody, and then we
And
learn.
I'm like, so then I thought, well, this cannot be. I cannot be the fixer, because on top of not being able to give them the psychological safety to come up, with, the problems. On top of that, I had not given them the power to deal with them. And then you give yourself more work having a team. So why would you have a team if you're going to fix everything?
Correct.
You get to
Yeah, you end up
delegate and
doing all the work, and they end up doing nothing, and then they're thinking, why am I even here? And you're thinking, oh my God, I've got too much to do.
Exactly. And then you'd say, I'm burned out. I don't know what to do. I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
Stop fixing their problems.
Correct. Stop solving other people's problems. Help them, support them in solving their problems. No blame, no shame, but don't take it over. Yeah, those are real. There's a ton of good stuff there, Carolina. I want to be on your team now.
I think about all these things that we talked about today, and how you very well explain them through, like, this is listening and this patience and so on. I can see also a bit of a line of different scenarios that happen maybe before this one to me.
Yeah.
I don't think happens overnight. I think that this is always something that you keep on going back and forth with different teams, and then eventually you learn what's the best way to deal with it. So I guess also a message would be for everyone: if it doesn't work at the first time that you try it, or if this doesn't necessarily work as like 100%, how they should work around it. It's not a recipe. It is a way to show you that you just have to listen to your team, and every team is different. So just have patience and understand what is the layer that is behind them that is not letting you be a leader of that team. Every team is different, every situation is different, but as long as you listen actively and understand what the issues are, then you can actually be creative in fixing them.
That's a really mature leadership style. When people first step into leadership, sometimes they think, I have to be the one to do things. I have to be the one to say things. I have to be the one to fix it and to strategize and to create and to do everything. But actually, really mature leadership is more about listening to your team, spreading out the work, helping develop everybody's skills, helping everybody learn all of these skills, helping everybody learn to listen to each other, helping everybody stop blaming and just work to solve the problems. Let's just figure out how to solve it. We're not here to blame each other. We're here to support
Mhm.
each other.
Yeah.
And so all of those are really mature leadership skills that you were showing that you had built over a career. It wasn't like this was your first rodeo, you know.
Yeah.
So those of you who are out there and listening and thinking, gosh, I don't always listen. And sometimes I do want to assert myself. And how much authority should I have? And shouldn't I be the voice in the room? And think about the best leaders that you've always had. And are they always the ones to say things, or are they the ones encouraging everybody else, right? That's just a really mature and fantastic leadership style when you establish psychological safety over and over and over, and they learn to trust it.
You're right. You gave like a very nice summary to what this case was about, and I think to what leaders should do. If you have confidence in you, you find different ways to try to get your team involved, and it's always going to be different. So that's another thing, that if you like to challenge yourself in different ways, well, being a leader is the perfect place for you to
Yes,
do
it
so.
is.
Never the
And I
same.
love what you just said too, when you said you have to have confidence in yourself, because actually stepping back and listening and hearing what they're saying does take a lot of confidence in the leader. The leader who comes in trying to dominate really shows insecurity, right? But when you can be secure enough to listen to people and really consider their points of view, that is a really important part of it, is that confidence to just listen and help them get to what they need to learn and what they need to do.
Exactly.
Learn to trust yourself and learn to trust your team.
Yeah, I always go back to say, well, like, what worked, what didn't work, and then that means also that you're able to kind of see what of the things that
That
you did actually
self-reflection,
made
that
sense and
habit
some
of
did.
self-reflection.
Yeah,
Really powerful.
yeah.
Awesome.
So
Awesome. There's so many good things that you're modeling for us today here, Carolina. I think we all want to be on your team now.
thank you,
Where do
Lisa.
we sign up?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. No, it was a good case study. It was difficult, but we made it. So I think that for everybody out there, just be confident and just figure it out. I know that you're gonna make it. Like we know that you're gonna be
We
able to
know we've
figure it
been there. We've made
out.
our mistakes too. We learned how to do it. And it's a great case study.
Yes. Thank you. And thank you for helping me, because we were able to figure out a way to maneuver the different things that happened and how we can pinpoint them so you can actually
Yeah.
see them for what they are. So this was
Awesome.
very helpful as well. Thank you so much, everyone. If you have a case that is keeping you up at night, send us an email to leadershipu25@gmail.com, and we will talk about it in the future episode. Follow us on Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Come back and we'll see you next time.